Coordinator. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Mandi Seethaler. I'm the Community Engagement Representative for the National Child Passenger Safety Board, and I'm the Alaska Statewide CPS Coordinator. And it's my honor to serve as the MC for today's CPS Coordinators Forum. Just as a reminder, if you'd like to put in the chat box your name and where you're from, and then maybe something fun about your state, we would enjoy hearing about it. For today's presentation, we do plan to do questions at the very end. So if you'll just enter them in the chat box, I'll keep track of them as we go, and then we'll take a few minutes at the end for some Q&A. As a reminder, attendees are requested not to participate in this forum if you're operating a motor vehicle. We just hit the record button and you can listen to it when you get safely at your destination. Just a quick reminder about the questions, just put them in the chat box and we will make sure that we get everything addressed. At the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So welcome to today's CPS Week Resources webinar. We have speakers joining us today to share Child Passenger Safety Week planning resources from trafficsafetymarketing.gov, AAA Mountain West Group, and Westat that can assist you with programming needs and ideas for this year's campaign. The dates are set for September 18th through the 24th, with National Seat Check Saturday being on September 24th. And whether you are planning your 10th or your first CPS week, we hope that these resources will help provide ideas and meaningful content to provide you with assistance in getting your safety messages and services out to your community. So I will be the first speaker. Again, my name is Mandi Seethaler. I'm the statewide coordinator for the state of Alaska. And I am also the community engagement representative on the National CPS board. And I'm super excited to be here today. And I'm going to sidebar for just 2 seconds and tell you how much I enjoyed connecting with so many of you over the last couple of weeks. I've been making some phone calls. I'd like to encourage you to nominate someone from your state for the CPS awards, the technician, instructor, or team of the year. I know y'all have great people in your state, so hit me up if you have questions. Our next speaker is going to be Adele Polson. She is a senior study direct with Westat, a research firm based in Washington, D.C. She's been a transportation researcher with Westat for 24 years. Adele, along with other Westat staff, joined the NDCF team almost 3 years ago. And while she's managing many projects for Westat, she's most proud of her team's work on the National Digital Check Form and everything the program is doing to help keep children safe. Adele will be sharing some behind the scenes data analysis of the National Digital Car Seat Check Form, commonly referred to as the NDCF, that was used to drive the upcoming CPS toolkit that will be available coming to all of us for CPS week and beyond. Adele Knudson is the social impact and advocacy leader at AAA Mountain West Group and manages a program of CPS in 7 states. In her role, she leads all aspects of the philanthropic, oh my gosh, it is early for me here, program and works with community-based organizations. AAA Mountain West Group has been a part of the National Digital Car Seat Check Form team since 2017, including providing program support for the analysis of the data that is transforming the CPS field. Angela enjoys working with others to disrupt leading causes of death among children in the United States. And we are lucky to have both of these ladies here today. They are excellent, excellent speakers. Thank you. So let's celebrate. This is one of the many gifts available to you through trafficsafetymarketing.gov. Next slide, please. Perfect. So trafficsafetymarketing.gov is one of my favorite websites to go to for free resources. They're branded, they are professionally made, and they are available to every one of you. As I prepared this presentation, I got to be honest with you, I got distracted and I just started scrolling and I started clicking and I started downloading, and all of a sudden I have about 100 things downloaded that I can't wait to use. So they have one specifically, a little drop down for child car safety. So you're going to click on that, and that's going to take you to this next page, Child Passenger Safety Week. And this is where you can look at the left side, what campaigns are available, what types of resources are available. They give you a little bit of documentation. some emails about where you can get this, and just let you know that it is a free resource to you. This is completely free. It's all been vetted. It's excellent. And this was released by NHTSA and the Ad Council. The links will take you back to nhtsa.gov. Actually, that's the right seat. And there's also a lot of information in Spanish on this website. So really, really excited to see that, where you can download and use this information. Next slide.
No.
So this is a little bit funny, but what I did is I just did a screenshot of some of the downloads that you can use to help assist you. We've got the CPS Week Proclamation, fact sheet. You can't hit these, sorry, Jessica, but each of you can go in and download these, and you can print them out. I know sometimes you like to have a little kit together with you. Sample news release for your CPS week, which is really great. You can go in and customize it, put in your own name and your date of your event, and it's already pre-written for you. So you don't have to start from scratch, which I know sometimes is a bit of a challenge. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of these social media posts. If you had joined us before, you took a tutorial on Canva, and we showed you how to make your own image. Okay, so this time we're giving you the words to go with the image. So if you can get the image put together, and if you need help, give me a call. But this download is going to give you the words that you can use. Again, it's already pre-vetted, and you don't have to come up with it by yourself. So we are really trying to do all we can to help you out. The bottom three icons are more downloads that you can use. Pay particular attention to the style and branding guides for the use of the materials. They've got it all laid out for you. They've also got some great tips on how to get your PSAs placed. And the localization process overview is really, really good. If you've got a few minutes, take some time to read it. So these resources, again, are free to you, and you can download and use them at any time. And there's so much more. Next slide. So I thought this was super fun. I downloaded this morning, and what they have done is they have given you 9 samples for Facebook and for Twitter with some hashtags involved. It's already written for you, so you can download these. They're Word documents, so you can actually just cut and paste, which is fabulous. But they've taken all the guesswork out of it. They've also given you some emojis to use, so everything is pre-labeled. But again, this is here for you to use. This is the 3-page document about facts and talking points. Obviously, you're not going to use them all in one setting, but you can pick out key statistics, information about how car seats save lives, booster seats, don't skip a step, know your state's child passenger safety laws with a link to the GSA website, common mistakes, where you can get help, and a great list of free resources. So again, all you have to do is download this, and you can pull out the information that you need. If you joined us not too long ago, we did a presentation with Audrey Click about how to use MailChimp. And if you needed some talking points to put in there, if you needed a little blurb, it's already written for you. So again, this is a free resource available to you at any time. Next slide. These are 2 of my absolute favorites. I love the NHTSA image gallery. It is done by a professional photographer. And again, these images are free to you. So this is a site where you'll access those. You can download them. They are high quality images, and you can search them by what you're looking for: rear facing, forward facing. There's a lot of really amazing images in there that again are free to you. And you can use them in your Canva applications where you can create your own media. So you don't even have to leave your office to go find a kiddo to put in a car seat, or to find a seatbelt or a tether. You have all of these free images for you. And if you have seen the car seat icons, there's one set with yellow backgrounds, and there's one set that has a white background. These are great little icons. You can download them as the 4 set. You can download them as individuals, the white or the yellow. But again, this is one of my favorite little icons to put on any sort of a document that I'm creating. Again, they are professionally done, and then it shows the stages. So again, another one of my favorite downloads from trafficsafetymarketing.gov. Next slide. So they also create the GIFs that you can download, and I picked out just 2 that were my favorite. Can you replay it? Thanks. And you can use these. you can just pop them right onto your social media channels. And again, they're already created. There's no sound, sorry. It's just a quick little gift to get their attention and have some action going on in your post. Next slide. Elizabeth Nielsen with DOT manages this site. She puts her email on trafficsafetymarketing.gov. You can ask her about anything that you need to talk to her about. If you're interested in using those, there are all kinds of CPS resources on this website. It's not just for CPS week. You can ask her questions. You can find out about personalizing it for your agency. She is there to help you, and she's really excited. I shared this presentation with her this morning, and she was really touched. She's anxious to help us be successful. So if you're having trouble downloading or can't find what you need, or if you would like any help at all, please reach out to me or to Elizabeth. We'll help you navigate the site, but please use these free resources already prepared for Child Passenger Safety Week in September 2022. Thank you.
All right, so it looks like I'm up next. This is a tough act to follow, Mandi, as always. So I'm going to do my best. I hope you bear with me. My presentation is all about data. For those of you that heard me present before, I love the data. I work with statisticians who love all the data and get very excited about it. So I'm going to try to do my best to not just overwhelm you with all the data we've got. I'm going to mention this at the end, but I'm going to just say it up front. We are very excited. We have a whole session at Kids in Motion in Orlando in August where I get, I think, a whole 45 minutes to go over the data with people in person, looking at the charts and graphs. So I hope you can make it there. Otherwise, we will be posting different resources and materials up to the board page and the NDCF page under the CPS board. So if it's a little bit too fast today or there's something you missed, you can always go to the board page to look for information, come to Kids in Motion, or email me directly, and I will try to get that asked. I'm just going to try to set that stage up front because I know there's a lot of detail that we're very excited. So thank you for having me back to present today. I always love presenting to this group. Myself and Angela are going to share the results of this new initiative that's been undertaken by NSC, AAA Mountain West Group, and Westat. So just a quick review, the NDCF provides one national standardized data collection tool that's freely available to all technicians and instructors. As we all know, CPS programs conduct car seat checks through a variety of settings, and the NDCF allows that seat check data to be collected, stored, and accessed by technicians as well as by program managers like you. The seat check data can be used to help you do your jobs, monitor trends and seat distributions and issues encountered in the field. And then this data can also be leveraged to enhance and change the way that we provide outreach and educational strategies to families. The initiative we're discussing today is just an excellent example of taking this NDCF data to inform outreach campaigns. We were so excited to work with our partners at AAA and NSC to take this data and provide more insight into child passenger safety. And we also got an opportunity to update the materials that we had developed with AAA last year. So we're just very excited to be able to continue this initiative. So today we're going to share the results of all this work with you. Two components. First, we undertook an additional analysis to help answer some questions about car seat misuse by age, by car seat type, and things like that. With the support from AAA Mountain West Group and Angela, we were able to take a deep dive into the data. Our statisticians were so excited to have some more time to devote to this. And then Angela, in the second half of our presentation, is going to walk you through the update to the AAA CPS Week media campaign materials that we created last year and have now updated with our new refreshed data. So first, the in-depth analysis. So now I'm going to start throwing all the numbers at you. Westat reviewed the data from 73,285 checks. So that is the number we were up to through March of 2022. I'm sure you've heard Jessica say we're on our way to 100K and we are getting close. This is a very impressive amount of car seat checks with incredibly robust data. So we decided that the data questions we wanted to answer this year were, what are the top misuses by child restraint type? What child restraints are most children using at each age? And are children who are arriving only in seatbelts actually properly restrained? And again, these are the highlights. More details will be released in the future and at the kids presentation, but here we go. Here's my first chart. So don't everybody gasp. It's going to be okay. It takes me a few minutes too, but basically what we did is we looked at, on the left-hand side there, you can see the different types of car seats on arrival, right? We've got our rear-facing only convertibles, forward-facing with harness booster seats. The next column over, we've got our total checks. How many car seats did we see? You can see we are still very, very much, the majority of our seats are very much the rear facing only and rear facing convertible. This is something the AAA campaign noted last year, that we're not seeing a lot of older children at our seat checks. And this is kind of a gap in the outreach, right? We are not getting to these kids in the forward facing and above as much. Majority of rear facing only seats. And then we looked across are different types of misuse in broad categories. Was there any type of seatbelt misuse? Was there any type of harness misuse? And was there any type of lower anchor misuse? And number one for all of our different types of restraint is seatbelt misuse, right? So what that tells us is that parents are doing a better job of using lower anchor to install those seats that are applicable for lower anchors. Parents and caregivers are doing a better job with that than they are doing with the seatbelts. So that's all that this chart is trying to say. And I just highlighted that seatbelt misuse. And I also highlighted, again, the fact that we see a lot of rear facing seats. So next slide, please. So then we decided to break this all down by looking at each seat type individually. So this chart here is starting with rear facing only. And then we have three tables. We have our seatbelt misuse, and you can see we've got seatbelt and then the top types of misuse for seatbelts that we're seeing. So this chart is telling us that in 35% of the car seats that were installed using seatbelts, that the seatbelt was installed too loosely, right? And then 27.4 were also used with a lower anchor. So that's the way these charts read. Then the next chart over is our lower anchor misuse. And again, number one, too loose. The lower anchors were not tightened down. Number two, again, they're combined with the seatbelt. And then the final chart, we have our harness misuse. Again, number one, too loose. So from this I take, please tighten everything down on your car seat, right? Is a pretty safe message to send out to all of the parents. Next slide, please. Now we're looking at the rear facing convertible seat, same charts. So same analysis run, but now we're looking at rear facing convertibles. Unsurprisingly, we see very similar patterns. Again, getting everything not tightened down enough seems to be a big problem. For harnesses, we see the same top three misuses, but now the incorrect harness slot is slightly more common in the rear facing convertibles, but we're doing a better job with the chest clip location. So again, this could be just as the child ages and grows, we're not getting those harness slots adjusted. And as the child's bigger, it's a little bit easier, I think, to get those chest clips, situated in the right location. Next, now we move into forward facing. And this is something that we also found out last year, that compared to rear facing seats, these forward facing seats have a lot of installation errors and misuse. This is higher than our rear facing seats. So when a seat is installed using a seatbelt, the forward facing seats are too loose and nearly 40% of the time. That's compared to 31% of the time with our rear facing convertibles. So just a little bit worse with our forward facing seats, or a little bit higher misuse. Harness misuse is also higher than in rear facing. It's loose in about 38% of the checks compared to 25% for our rear facing seats. And this is the first time we get to look at tether misuse. And I think this is kind of one of the things that we've all suspected, and I know that there's been some different published papers out there, but we can confirm that tether non-use is the biggest issue we are seeing with the tethers. In 41% of the cases, it just simply wasn't used when it should have been used. Next slide, please. And now we're looking at the booster seats, and really for booster seats, it only makes sense to talk about the seatbelt. I know that booster seats can use lower anchors and tethers, but the numbers that we're seeing in the NDCF just aren't reliable. We're not seeing enough of those cases. So nearly 30% of the kids in booster seats have seatbelt fit issues. And then we also have 12% with routing issues. The other seatbelt misuse here is frequently when a child has the belt behind their back, not across their chest, under their arm, that kind of thing. Next slide, please. And finally, for the very few children we see who arrive only in a seatbelt, more than 41% of them do not correctly fit. And this again mimics what we found last year, where as the child gets older, we're seeing more misuse, right? We are getting to those rear-facing kids, which is great. We're getting to those really tiny babies, which is great. But some of these older kids, as we've always suspected, prematurely transitioning, and we're seeing more misuse. Next slide, please. So our next question is, what car seats are more children using by age, right? So in the NDCF, we collect all these different age categories, and we also collect the type of car seat that they arrive in. So our unborn children obviously aren't on the car seat checks, but we have parents arriving with the rear facing car seat to use for these unborn children 99.9% of the time, which is awesome. Under 99% of the time, we've got a rear facing seat. And you can see this does generally line up with NHTSA's recommendations. That's the chart on the side, are the NHTSA recommendations for car seat type by age. So all of this is lining up pretty well. So that's very encouraging. Next slide, please. And this continues as we look at the older children. But, you know, if you look at this, we see like the 7 to 8-year-olds, 51% are still in boosters. 17% are still in forward-facing to those forward-facing parents. That's awesome. But that still leaves a good chunk of children that are in the 7 to 8 category that are just in seatbelts, right? So again, not ideal, not as promising as the younger children. Next slide, please. So, and then are these children that are arriving only in seatbelts, are they properly restrained? And again, this is why our statisticians love working with this data. There's 2 different ways for us to look at this in the NDCF. First, we can compare the car seat type on arrival to the car seat type on departure. So for example, if a child comes in a seatbelt, but leaves in some type of child restraint, we know that they probably shouldn't have been in the seatbelt to start with. So this table shows us that out of the 1,400 kids that arrived in a lap and shoulder only belt, only about 6% of those children left in that lap shoulder belt. The other children were transitioned back into a CRS of some type. Next slide. And then we also have a direct question on the NDCF form, which just says, was the child correctly secured in the seatbelt? And again, we see the majority of these children are not correctly restrained in a seatbelt at almost 60%. Next slide. So like I said, come check us out at Kids in Motion. Also, we are planning to roll out updates again. So just a quick pitch. At the beginning of October, we roll out our annual updates to the NDCF. Part of that will be updating our data dashboards. We have been reviewing all of your comments and feedback over the past year, and we are working to make those data tools as helpful as they can be so you can get all the data that you need for your programs. But as well, we will also be making minor updates to the paper forms, the apps, all of our platforms, all of our resource materials. So please continue to go to that board webpage for the NDCF. And now I'd like to turn it over to Angela.
Thanks, Adele. That is so exciting. Hi, everyone. I am happy to be with you all today. So I'm going to speak to what Adele just shared and really the translation of that, because like we all love data, and where we came in, right, through AAA, thinking about it is how to translate that data so our consumers, right, our caregivers know what to do with it. And so that's what I'm going to speak to. And so we are building off the toolkit that NSC, Westat, and AAA delivered last year. And so today I'll share a sneak peek of the 2022 toolkit, which will be available in Spanish and English. And because it's still in development, I'll only share a few here. And so we intend to distribute these key messages throughout the year, even beyond CPS week. So we invite you to always, share these messages throughout the year, not just this one week in time. And so certainly NHTSA has some great resources. Here's some more tools for your toolbox, depending on what kind of messages that you're wanting to share. Maybe it's all of them, that's great too. So a little bit about a survey we did last year. So last year was the first year we did this really big push with the NDCF data. And when giving data to the general public, we knew that we needed to provide context for these NDCF findings. And so in order to do that, we wanted to understand the big picture of Americans' perceptions of child passenger safety. So we worked with Ipsos to build a nationally representative survey. And what we learned was that only 25% of Americans correctly chose car seat as a leading cause of death and injury for children in the US. And so now, despite shifts in rankings, we feel that this data still tells an important story. And this data point, right alongside the 100,000 plus children riding in vehicles that were injured in 2020, we really wanted to use this to think about our educational messaging and marketing materials, right? Just connecting those dots for caregivers. The next slide, please, Jessica. Or Mandi, I don't know who's driving.
Sorry, folks. I shouldn't be two things at one time, which is typing in the chat. Do I need to go back one, Angela?
19. I think it's slide 19.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Hang on one second. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop sharing and get us to the right one.
Well, I'll keep talking. I'll kind of skip around. And so these assets, so I'll share 4 assets today. We will have 8 total. It will include other supplemental copy suggested text that you can share with those infographics. And they will be available on the cpsboard.org site the week of August 22nd, Kids in Motion. So please be on the lookout for that. All right, so we are great. Thank you. Okay, so this is an example. So Adele shared the data, so I won't go too much into it, but we really wanted to take out those big gems that we think are really important for our caregivers to know, right? What are those very top level messages? And so one big thing we like to share is that more than half of the car seats that our technicians have inspected are improperly installed and used. And so again, this is one of the infographics, Spanish and English, and just providing a little context for caregivers. So I'm going to ask you to just kind of keep going, Jessica, to the next one, which I believe is about forward-facing car seats. And Adele mentioned the high misuse we see with forward-facing car seats. So again, it's just really creating that nice visual. And so again, 76% are incorrectly installed, and caregivers less likely to seek car seat inspections as the child grows. I'll say this is a gap that we saw in the market, and so AAA plans to do a lot more education around those older kiddos as well. Next one. And again, Adele had that nice visual, right, of what are kiddos actually arriving in, what are the NHTSA recommendations. And so we think this is a really compelling data point, which is 90% of children using a lap and shoulder belt should still be in a forward-facing car seat or booster seat. And the last one, oh, okay, great. Just a summary. I told you I'd be very brief. Again, these will be available on the CPS board website to download with fact sheets, key messages. So we hope you consider this as an additional tool in your toolbox when thinking about CPS week communications and also beyond. I think that's all I have.
Well, thank you, Angela and Adele both. I know that we're all doing some planning right now and getting ready for CPS week, so we're super excited to have these tools coming, and I always look forward to the AAA assets. They're really, really fun. So we have got a couple of questions. We're going to start with Mandi Summers. She says, this data is great. Is it possible to get copies of these data slides? I'm doing a presentation to techs about the digital form to try to get more to use it. Showing them this data would be helpful.
Yes, absolutely.
Easy peasy. Where should we go? Should she contact Jessica? Or?
Yes. Does that work, Jessica?
Yes,
Well,
and
we're
then the very last slide has all our contact information. So yes, please contact me. This is Jessica. And once we get through these closing announcements, that final slide has all our information on it. Thank you.
Perfect. And Jessica also brought to my attention that Elizabeth had shared that additional social media graphics are coming at the end of August and early September. So in addition to all the fabulous materials that AAA is going to put out, Traffic Safety Marketing is going to have a few more fun things for you to use as well. So thank you both again for being here today. As you can see, we might wrap up a little bit early, but let's talk about a few other things that are going on. Next slide, there we go. Is your state or region beginning to look at offering the new hybrid delivery of the National Child Passenger Safety Technician Training? Do you want to learn more? And I'm guessing that you do. It's very exciting. We encourage you to reach out to Tammy, the curriculum representative of the board, at training@cpsboard.org to schedule a mini discussion to assist you to bringing this fantastic training to your state. I will tell you, I have personally listened to this 4 or 5 times, and every time I do it, I learn something new about the hybrid. And it's really exciting. So please reach out to Tammy. She will customize it to when you're meeting with your team, and we can make it happen. So as I mentioned, I tried to reach out to every single state, at least one of the coordinators, to please ask you to nominate someone from your state for the National CPS Board Awards. If you pick up your phone right now and scan this code, it will take you to the board website where you can learn more. The time commitment to nominate someone is really short, maybe 10 minutes or less. But again, it's been a crazy couple of years, and we think that technicians, instructors, and teams are really stepping up, and we would love to hear about it. And we would love to acknowledge all of the nominees at Lifesavers next year to let everyone know what good work is going on in your state. So please take a minute to nominate someone today. The award period closes August 31st, but August is going to be busy planning for CPS week, so I encourage you to do it today. Upcoming coordinators forums. We've got some really fun stuff coming up. August, we're going to go ahead and take a break for summer. That's back to school. We're all doing a lot of work in August. In September, we're going to talk about hot topics, a car seats manufacturer's perspective. Danielle Brown is putting this together, and I think they've got some really exciting stuff planned for you. Justin Young, who's on the call with us today, is going to be talking about building law enforcement relationships through partnerships with CPS for everyone. If you have any questions about that ahead of time, let me or Justin know, and I'll pass those, whatever I get, along to him, and we can make sure that we'd address it during that presentation. If there is something that you would like to, oh, let's keep going. We have already got them planned out for the next few months. In December, we're going to talk about the hybrid course. We'll talk about people that have already done it, what they've learned, what do they think about it, and we're talking about the school bus curriculum that's being released. In December, Scott Downing is going to talk about CPS and emergency vehicles, information that you as CPS coordinators can use to help with those transportation needs and questions. We've already got our dates planned out for February and March. If you have suggestions for topics or something that you want us to talk about or share with you, or if you have something that you would like to share, please reach out to secretariat@cpsboard.org so that we can address what you would like to know about. Jim Savage let us know that there is a hybrid course scheduled in Wisconsin in September. Woo-hoo, go Jim. One other thing, if you have ever considered joining the National Child Passenger Safety Board, now is the time to get your application in. They are due by September 30th. There are 3 open positions. The board positions run for about 3 years. So we have Child Passenger Safety Advocate, Child Passenger Safety Advocate at Risk Underserved Populations, and the Vehicle Manufacturers Representative. If you or someone you know would be a great candidate, please encourage them to apply. Again, there is a scan code right on this screen that you can scan with your phone, and it'll take you to the page on cpsboard.org where you can get more information. And we have more content for you. Thanks to Justin, who's coordinating the efforts of the webinar series. We have a webinar every month where you can continue to earn your CEUs, and we've got some really exciting ones coming up. 15 passenger vans, Tech Guide 2.0, the deeper dive into why, and the oldies but goodies, CPS and older vehicles. I want to attend all of these. This is great. If you have any questions, please let us know, but if not, please make sure that you register today. These tend to fill up really fast. The content will be recorded, but the live version is always a lot of fun. Thank you again for being here. We're going to stick around for just a few minutes. If you'd like to ask additional questions, if you have suggestions for trainings, if you want to talk about CPS awards, we would love to chat with you. But we will go ahead and end the recording, and thank you for being here today.